To get our meeting started, we're calling the meeting to order at 6:01. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, folks, we're going to go a little bit out of order because we have some lovely little friends with us here from our LG. So we're going to start with our student spotlight with Miss Carlson and Mrs. Velaccio. Sorry. Come on up, little friends.
Can we share it first?
Yes. Or they can talk first and we can show the video at the end.
Talk first and then show.
Perfect.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Jen Carlson. I teach first grade at LG North, and I team teach with Miss Julia, whose kids are included in our first grade classroom. I just want to start with a quote from Temple Grandin, and then I'm going to let the kids talk. There needs to be a lot more emphasis on what a child can do instead of what they can't do. When we presume competence, we believe that the child is capable and competent in their own unique way. And I think that is the most prevalent idea in Room 13 this year, that my kids presume competence no matter what, as do all of our friends. So, Ella, here you go, kiddo. Good, read that right to the microphone.
Good evening, members of the school committee, families, teachers, and friends. We are first graders from LGN. We are excited to share a special video with you all about Autism Awareness Week. This week is all about learning how every person is unique, important, and valuable. We have been learning that some people think, learn, communicate, and experience the world in different ways. Those differences help make our community stronger and kinder. In our classroom, we talked about being good friends, showing understanding, including everyone, and celebrating what makes each person special.
Right on.
We hope this video helps spread kindness, acceptance, and awareness throughout our school community. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy our video.
That was amazing. Amazing.
Right. Ready? Yep.
This week we are learning about how everyone's brain works in different and amazing ways. Being kind and including everyone helps make our school a happy place for all. Good morning, LGN.
Good morning, LGN.
Some people with autism may learn, play, or communicate in their own unique ways. We can show kindness by being patient, friendly, and a good helper. Hey G, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite color?
What's your favorite color?
Rainbow.
No.
Good morning, LGN! Being included means making sure everyone feels welcome. We make sure everyone is part of the group. Even small acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's day. that make each of us special and unique. When we accept and include others, we make our school stronger and kinder together. Come on, Angie. Let's keep showing kindness and inclusion every day, not just this week. Everyone belongs here and together we can. No one feels left out.
All right, G, wrap it up for us. Okay, hold on. Okay, Lucas.
What do you say?
Lucas,
What do you say?
Thank you for having us. Have a good night.
We're just gonna have, Lucas is gonna introduce his friends who came tonight to talk. All right? Ready? So who are you?
Yeah, Lucas.
Who's that?
Richard.
Who's next to Richard?
Anna.
Who's right here?
Jamani.
Who's right here?
Owen.
Who's right here?
Oliva.
Who's this?
Ella.
And who is over there?
Raymond.
Okay, that's all of our friends that came to talk tonight. Good job, Lucas. Oh, Lucas, come back. Rosie's a, who's
Rosie.
And Rosie's a second grade friend.
Okay.
Yep, second grade.
But she's in Lucas's class.
Yep, she's in Miss Julia's class with Lucas, right? Yeah. All right, say thank you.
Jella.
Miss Carlson and Miss Flaccio, can we get a picture of all of you and your students, and probably Mr. Higgins as well? My friend Benson will take the picture for us.
All right.
Hello.
He used to be a while ago.
He was my first.
All right, let's take a picture.
Parents, feel free to come up and stand behind Benson and take pictures as well.
Turn that way and face Benson.
Of course, Mr. Higgins is in the back. So we're going to give our first two friends a little time to clear out if they choose to. They don't have to stay.
Thank you all so much
Thanks
for
so
coming
much
and
for coming.
sharing with us tonight. That was amazing.
Mrs. Carlson? Before you go, I just want to say, I know we do Character Strong, but this is such a real world amazing lesson that you put together and experience, and taking all of the things that they learn through Character Strong and those traits, but actually bringing it to life and in the classroom. So thank you.
Ton of credit to Miss Julia.
I was just going to say to you and Miss Julie, I don't know where she went. I saw her.
She's in the back.
But yes. So thank you.
The first graders isn't a lesson that I can teach them.
No, I was wonderful. Thank you. And thank you for bringing
Thanks,
this here
Jen.
and sharing with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
So do I read this whole section?
No, I think I do. You turn it over to me.
Okay. All right, we're going to go back into order now that our first visitors are moving on. So our next item agenda is the reorganization of the school committee, so we'll be turning it over to Dr. O'Neill.
Okay, thank you, Dan. So as of tonight, we have a new member on our school committee, Miss Heather Forbes. And so as we do every year after the annual election, we reorganize the school committee itself. So I will begin by taking nominations for chairperson of the Norton School Committee. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate Justine.
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations from the board? Okay, seeing none, hold on. I would request a motion to close nominations for the chairperson of school committee. So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Because there's only one nominee, that I, as the chairperson pro tem, will cast one vote. Congratulations to Ms. Callahan, that you are the new chairperson of the Norton School Committee.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I will turn it back over to you to do the rest of these nominations.
Okay, bear with me, everybody.
And apparently bear with me as well. So.
Doing the
All
best
right.
we can, everybody.
So I guess we do open nominations for
Vice.
the vice chair.
Yep.
Over down here. Okay. Any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Laura.
Is there a second, I think?
Yep.
Oh, is that what we do?
I think so,
Sorry.
yep.
The same thing we always do.
Yeah.
I would.
So the motion has been passed, so we need a second.
Well, aren't we just nominating though? Is there any other nominations, right? Or no?
I think you need the second first before you then.
You would second it, and then there'd be another.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there a second?
Second to the motion to appoint Laura as vice chair. Is anyone seconding the motion?
Doesn't appear so.
No.
Apparently not.
Okay. Then the motion fails.
All right. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Can I make a motion? I can do it, right?
Yep.
I'd make a motion to nominate Mr. Schleicher for vice chair. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess I can vote for myself. I don't know. Yeah.
Aye.
Sure.
Any opposed or? Okay. Okay.
Right.
Sorry. Just trying to follow through here. Next is, we need to appoint somebody for a legislative representative.
I would nominate Nick.
Nick, you currently do that, right?
Yep.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, negotiations representatives.
I'd make a motion to keep it the same, so myself and Justine Callahan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we need to do two for capital improvement. So for number 1.
Can we have just clarification on this, Jen?
Yep.
We have 1 and seconds of backup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and so typically what we do is Christine and Wade and I will meet with the first person and the second person to go through and take things offline so we can have conversations about capital requests without bringing it to the whole committee. So those 2 people would be those members that we would meet with.
Got it.
Okay. So, anyone for capital improvement committee?
I would nominate Justine.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excited.
And for number 2 for capital?
Nominate Dan Sheedy.
Second.
Is that okay? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I like to check. Can we make sure people want to do this?
Whatever days it is. Whatever days they are, I'm busy.
It might be too
Just
late
get
for
told what
that.
to do.
Oh, apparently. I thought it was like a conversation. All right. Anybody for CPAC? I nominate Heather Forbes. For
Second.
CPAC.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Permanent Building Committee.
I nominate Laura.
Second.
Second myself.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that okay, Laura?
Yeah, I want to finish out what I started.
Okay.
You don't have a choice.
Apparently.
All right. Signing warrants. I don't mind staying doing warrants.
I nominate Justine.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And
Need a
then
backup for that.
Yeah, we need a backup.
And for the warrant signer, it's helpful to have somebody who is in town. Like, I wouldn't pick Nick because he commutes back and forth to Rhode Island. You know, Dan's kind of far, but you can pick, actually, pick whoever you want. It has
Nominate-
nothing to do with me.
I'd like to nominate Heather.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's done. Next is public comment. All speakers are encouraged to present their remarks in a respectful manner and to consider the privacy interests of others. Speakers must begin their remarks by stating their name, address, and affiliation. All remarks will be addressed through the chair of the meeting. Public comment shall concern only items that are within the scope of the school committee's authority. Speakers will be allowed 3 minutes each to present their material, and in general, extensions will not be permitted. Speakers may not assign their time to another speaker. Is anybody here to participate in public comment? Seeing none, we will move on. Next is to vote to approve minutes of the April 15th open session meeting and the April 30th joint meeting with the select board. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes?
Yes.
Any revisions or changes, edits?
No.
No? Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2026 open session meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 30th.
Hold on, I'm going to abstain from that one just because I wasn't here.
April 30th, yeah.
Yes.
All right, make a motion to approve minutes. Oh, the 15th, sorry. Okay,
Just when you do it, just say everybody yes, everybody no. Then
okay.
sorry.
401.
4-0.
Yes.
yeah.
That'll be 301.
301.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 30th, 2026 joint meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
Oh, sorry, second. See, I told you, bear with me. This is much easier sitting somewhere else.
So there's a motion and a second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did we second the
Not second
15th?
the
No,
other
we
one.
didn't on the 15th. Can we
All right, back
that
to
one
that
one more
one.
time? Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2026 open session meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And,
I'm abstaining.
yeah.
There we go.
So 301 and 40.
Okay. Next is the warrants. It's me. I reviewed the following school expense and school payroll warrants. The school expense warrant is April 15th, 2026, $552,388.69. School payroll warrant, April 16th, 2026, $1,928,215.07. I reviewed and approved, wish to enter them into public record. Okay. Student rep updates. with Benson and Leah.
Hello, everyone. Just from the Yell and the JCS, but from the Yell to support Math MCAS preparation, we held a 3-week ST Math April Arithmetic Absurdity Tournament with all 15 homerooms competing in a bracket-style format based on weekly ST Math puzzle completion. Championship results included Mrs. Rowe's 4th grade class defeating Mr. Chu's class, and Mrs. Bruno's 5th grade class narrowly edging out Mrs. Winters and Mrs. Hannon's class. Third place honors went to Mrs. Carline's 4th grade and Miss Cross's 5th grade classes. Winning classes earned donut-based rewards, including a short walking field trip for first place, and the tournament was an engaging way to build enthusiasm for math ahead of MCAS.
Our 5th grade students have done an excellent job on Math MCAS so far, demonstrating strong effort and focus. Grade 5 testing took place on Tuesday and Wednesday, with grade 4 testing occurring on Thursday and Friday. Testing days were structured to support students with a morning recess, a shared snack, and afternoon specials. Following Math MCAS, grade 5 students will complete Science, Technology, and Engineering MCAS next week. Testing will conclude with a bingo celebration for all students sponsored by the Hay PTO.
The JCS hosted several successful spring activities with the support of the school parent organization and family volunteers. The annual fun run was held on April 16th with scheduled runs for grades K through 12, Little Lancers, and sensory-friendly options to support all learners. On April 30th, the school celebrated Sea Turtle Day with a school-wide assembly, historical displays in the library, a scavenger hunt, a 3rd grade rock garden ceremony, and a student versus staff basketball game.
The assembly also recognized the retirement of a senior administrative assistant, Lisa Varney, celebrating more than 25 years in service with the school. A dogwood tree was planted in her honor in front of the school. And that is all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick shout out. I think Benson kind of took the lead on it. Great job with the senior project, by the way. There was a bunch of stuff online about it and donations and everything else. And, everything you do for these schools are quite amazing at your age. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we already did the student spotlight, so we'll move on to the first reading of JLCD, Administering Medicine to Students Policy Revision. Dr. O'Neill.
Thank you. I know I have Mrs. Brown is here as well tonight. So as you can see, the current policy on administering medicines to students is fairly short compared to the one that is next on the docket here. So all of this comes to us based on changes to Massachusetts regulations, specifically 105 CMR 210, which we are required to update our school-based policies because of that. So ultimately, there are some pretty significant changes to our policy because it is so much more explicitly spelled out. And really that's there's really not a huge amount of change to what we've been doing, but things are really spelled out here. So it walks us through the importance of parental consent as well as prescriber orders. We are able to provide students with over-the-counter medication. So, for example, Advil or Tylenol. But again, all those have to have parental permission on file. Students, when it comes to the self-administration, they are able to self-administer their own asthma inhaler or insulin based on the student age, and it would be a case-by-case consideration, working with the student family, the family, and the nurse as well. Oftentimes, we see that when students get to middle school or high school and they're able to self-administer on their own. There is more explicit requirements around the delivery, storage, and disposal of medications. And then also more explicit guidelines when it comes to responding to medical emergencies and the administration of epinephrine. So really, it's just much more clearly laid out than our previous policy here. Doreen, was there anything that you wanted to add that was specific or no? Oh, well, hey. Ish. Any questions from the committee regarding the first read on administering medicines to students?
Nope.
So it's not changing anything we're currently doing. It's just writing it down. Be more
Yes.
specific.
Looks to be modernizing
Yes,
it quite
yes,
a bit.
Yes.
Following all these
Yeah.
guidelines, but it's really never been spelled out for us in
Yeah.
state regulations until this past summer. That's why I did it this year, because they
Yeah.
updated everything this past summer.
Okay. It's a lot of updating.
So like, just like a quick question here. So delivery, storage, disposal. Students cannot transport medication to school. So like,
Parents got to bring it.
they can't have Advil in their bags. They're not. Okay.
Because we do have it in the health office.
Got it.
Like say, they would be giving it to friends if they don't have it.
But even like their prescription medications, the parent has to bring it in to the nurse. Unless there is an exception, I saw though, like the parent would have to call and say, Johnny's bringing in his medicine today.
Right. And
Okay.
so if he's on the bus, we'd say no.
Yeah.
If he's driving himself in, I'd say yeah, but send him straight to the nurse's
Yep.
office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? This is just a first reading, so we don't have to vote.
No vote.
Okay. All right. Discussion and vote on school improvement plan, the elementary principals.
So tonight we have Mr. Higgins from LGN and Mr. Barrett from JCS here to share the shared elementary school improvement plan. Mr. Gagan was supposed to join us, but unfortunately he had something come up and he wasn't able to attend tonight. So I think probably what they're going to share is that Marty is responsible for all the data collection, would be my guess.
I like that idea.
That's what you get.
I like that idea.
You want us to vote on that, guys? Or?
I'll second it right now. Thanks for having us tonight and sharing this proposed school improvement plan. Justine, congratulations on your
Thank you.
appointment. Yeah, Paul and I are excited to share this. I think, for a little history for maybe some new members, when I started here at Norton Public Schools, Marty and I had a discussion with Dr. Marcus at the time around trying to get our school councils all on the same page. Attendance at school council meetings can be difficult at times to get parents involved and teachers who want to do it because they're all doing so many things on top of their regular schedule. So we proposed combining the three schools, pre-K to 3, and then the Yale with 4 and 5. And we have, as you can see from the attendance page, a great turnout in terms of parents, teacher support, and our community member, Mr. Searcy, is here tonight. He wears many hats, as you know. And we figured he's a Norton resident. He can be our community representative as well. So we appreciate that from Vinny. So you have the document in front of you. We've aligned this plan, obviously, with our new district strategic plan and really focusing on the work that was done prior to going into next year. So we're excited to have it streamlined and connected to that district plan, and you can see all of the mission statement, vision, and core values are all aligned. I know Marty did write that preamble. He did a really nice job with that when we decided to join our school council, so I will give him credit for that. But that's it. He knows, yeah, that's it. I love him, but. And then we should have had page numbers, I'm thinking at this point, but where it says Norton Elementary Schools Improvement Plan Goals, it's just a quick overview of the 3 major goals that we're focused on. Really around communication, having the 3 schools communicating to parents and the community at large is important for us to have the same messaging, the same process, for our teachers to understand that it's very important to communicate with parents in the community and making sure that we're all of the same understanding of how that should happen. It is part of our teachers' rubric in terms of parent involvement and community involvement, so we want to make sure that everyone has a similar understanding. You notice we've worked a little bit around critical attendance. I know there's a district-wide team. We wanted to focus on attendance as a critical issue, especially after COVID. And then our 3rd goal around community service. As you maybe recall from a few weeks ago, Mrs. Lyons was here with her senior reading buddies. Programs like that and initiatives like that are really important to the education of our students, not just the reading, writing, and arithmetic in the classroom, but having those connections across the community and kind of researching and getting involved in different things. Benson is a good proponent of that as well. LGN kid right there. We're proud of him. So Paul's going to share a little bit more in depth about the first goal, and then I'll revisit the second, and then Paul will do the third, and we'll take questions.
Thank you. I definitely have to pull this down after Mr. Higgins. No, it's okay. Before I get into the first goal, I just want to say, as being newer to Norton, I think it's wonderful that all three schools have a combined site council, particularly because as being sister schools, I think it's really important for us to be consistent in the way that we approach things. And Mr. Higgins has been wonderful to me in helping me kind of get used to Norton. And I also think because our two schools are the feeder school for the Yale, it makes sense for all three schools to be on the same page with the goals. So that was really a breath of fresh air for me coming into the district. The one thing that I can't stand in presentations is when presenters read things to the audience, so I'm not going to do that. But I did want to focus on, I think anytime you have a plan, whether it's an improvement plan, any sort of plan, you need to know how you're going to judge is it successful or not. And so I just want to point out a couple of data points in our first goal around communication. When we're using Parent Square as a platform, one of the great benefits of Parent Square for all the principals is that we get weekly messages from Parent Square letting us know how it's used in our school, besides how we're using it. So for example, I get every week a message, and I can see kindergarten and pre-K competing for how many messages they've sent out. I can see that the first grade, they have worked together as a team, and their messages are exceptionally consistent. So they're already doing that. And so Parent Square gives us as administrators and leaders and also grade level teams the tools to be able to do those things well. So I think already we have some data that's at our fingertips to let us know, okay, kindergarten, first grade, pre-K, they're already using it in this way. It's been very effective. Second and third grade, maybe we want to look at some of the strategies that the other grades have used, or maybe there are some other things that we can try. The other thing that I would like to talk about with Tom and Marty is surveying families, because one of the things that, we have a number of parents on the school committee. You get inundated with messages from the schools, not just from the principal. I apologize, JCS parents, but from teachers, from the district, from all kinds of places. And I think, it's important for us to understand what are some ways that we can make Parent Square and our social media communications, things that are posted on our school websites, more effective and efficient for you. We just had our kindergarten orientations this week, and I can't tell you in our slides how many times I referenced the JCF website and the district website for questions about transportation, about registration. And so I think getting insight from families will help us kind of mold that strategy and use that data to make some adjustments and also lead those conversations with our staff. So I think from my perspective, those are really the data points that we're going to use to see if we are achieving or making progress toward that goal. And I think the last point too is really having some more conversations about what things should be digital in communication and what things should be both. And maybe there might be some exceptions. Maybe some things should only be hard copy or very specific situations. And I think we do an excellent job of that already. But I think in talking more together, we have more diversity than ever in the Norton Public Schools. Parent Square makes it really efficient and effective to translate communications kind of on the fly. But there are some situations where we need to do things differently. We use the telephone service. I use it quite a bit. I'm sure you do as well in talking with families. So also thinking about other modes of communication as well. We know Marty is the Instagram king of Norton with the Yale Instagram account, but I know that at both LG and JCS, we use social media quite a bit to get information out to parents and also just to share exciting things that happen during the day. I mean, So my youngest is graduating college this weekend, my 22-year-old, but I remember getting the emails with pictures of what was happening in my kid's school. And I look forward to those. Even if it weren't my kids, I could see what was going on and seeing the smiling faces. So I think that's already an effective way to communicate. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that, or just want to... Okay, terrific.
Can I ask a quick question while you're up there?
Of course you can.
So with Parent Square, from a teacher's perspective, is it easy to use and to upload and overall it's...
Sunderland?
It's very user friendly and yeah. Okay, good.
There are
adapted over the years too. I
Yeah.
used to use More back in the day. I don't
Yes,
know
yep,
that
yep.
platform, but, it was a paid subscription, and I paid it out of my own pocket as a teacher and a principal. And then coming to Norton, it was nice to have a platform that had those same pieces and
Yeah.
ways to communicate with parents. So that was a kind of a breath of fresh air.
I would agree. The district that I came from, we used a different platform called ThrillShare. And I find Parent Square to be a little bit more user-friendly, particularly for the teachers. Also, the quality of the templates is really improving. So I think that is really helpful because it takes a lot of work to make things look good, and having some templates that it's easy just to plug things in. Our teachers already work so hard, making time efficient for them, I think, is really helpful. I know the first grade takes advantage of it because all their communications they look very similar, which is really helpful.
Thank you.
So goal 2 is around attendance, as I mentioned, and we've done a little bit of work with this already at the district level and then also at the school level. So I think, Brian, you headed that committee, right? The critical attendance committee at the district level. So there were members from each school on that committee, and we rolled out, I think it was the beginning of last school year. I'm lucky enough to have Carolyn Kenny, who's our wellness teacher and phys ed teacher, join that committee. She knows every student at LG because she sees our kindergartners and first graders twice a week and our second and third graders once a week. She's a great resource in terms of just knowing every child and being able to relate with every kid. So she was our chair of our attendance committee, and we've met last year quite a bit to kind of kickstart this process. And just to dive into the data of attendance, I think post-COVID, a lot of schools are dealing with a change in a philosophy about sending kids to school, whether it's around illness, whether it's around, just family stuff that's going on at home, a kid's desire to want to get up and go to school each day, which at the elementary level scares me because those kids usually love coming to school. My goal as principal is to make kids want to come to school and have fun and be happy and do their best learning each day. So attendance is really important to us as principals and our teachers as well. So some of the things that we've implemented and accomplished over the last year, it was more in terms of, what can teachers do at the classroom level, or maybe what relationships do students have with other adults in the building that might help them get to school each day. So we want to see that replicated across all 3 schools, and then I know across the district in terms of making attendance an important thing. In terms of Parent Square, I have an Attendance Matters dialogue in there every single week, just so people understand that we really want those kids in school. I know there's times when I've done it as a parent myself, you take your kids out for a trip, and we just want parents to know being there every day is important, and being ready to learn is important. And so we really want to focus on making sure that parents understand that. A few of the other things, we've got tiered implementation of tiered approaches in terms of maybe you're receiving a phone call, like I said, from a teacher, maybe you're receiving a letter from the school. We also implore our nurses, our school adjustment counselors. It's really a wraparound approach in making sure that every student has an adult they know and trust explicitly so that they want to be in our school each day. Obviously, the data kind of speaks for itself. We look at attendance data on a regular basis. Our administrative assistants will be important in terms of printing that data out, having the team look at it, and making decisions around how we can help families. And then in terms of our school adjustment counselors, if a family is in need, if there's a very valid reason why the student's not coming to school, mental health issues obviously are prevalent nowadays. We want to be able to get them services that they might need to help their child come to school. And then in terms of maybe medical illnesses, having tutors visit students at home if families are willing to do that is important as well. So it's really a wraparound type of goal because we can't help kids achieve their learning goals if they're not in school. And it's I love the goal. It's one of my favorites. Most of these goals came out of discussion with our parent groups, their involvement and their kind of feedback around what would be important to them. So communication is key, attendance is key, and obviously Paul will talk about the community service piece.
I remember the other ones, but just not that
Thank you. So again, being newer to Norton, one of the things I noticed right away was how tight the community is. It's very much like the community I live in, which Mr. Schleicher works in. So we kind of trade off every morning. And so I think a really important thing for us is how do we get involved and get our students involved in community organizations and working on things. And I was very fortunate in my prior school. We had some strong connections with some community organizations. And so we talked about some ways to possibly do that. But we don't want to assume that we know all the right ways to do that, because I don't personally live in Norton. I know Tom doesn't live in Norton. And so one of the ways that we really talked about it was surveying, again, parents, families, staff members to get some ideas, and even community members to say, what are the organizations in the community that, one, are really important to people, two, that are dying to partner with the schools, and then have conversations about, okay, what are some things we can do? One example, I was talking to Dr. Neal about this, is maybe a community garden in each school. There's a lot of value in kids learning how to grow food and how to take care of things. We have wonderful veterans organization in town. They're coming out to a Memorial Day concert soon. They came to our Veterans Day ceremonies at the beginning of the year. That's already a great connection. But there are lots of other organizations, our senior citizens in town. We're very fortunate the high schoolers are coming soon. The kids love seeing them parade through the schools, congratulating them. And so, again, in looking at how we would show what our direction is for this goal, because this is a brand new goal. This really isn't work that we've done systemically. I think all the schools have done it individually in pockets, but we haven't talked about it all three schools together. So first, we need to kind of establish a direction. So that'll be our first step, looking at survey results from that, then maybe talking about what's more appropriate for each of the three schools. Maybe there's some things more appropriate for Tom and my school versus Marty's school. And then pick some of those things to pilot instead of trying to do everything at once. Maybe picking one or two. And I think in the plan we identified, we said, the goal would be to pick two to pilot and then try them out and then do a follow-up survey or conversations with teachers, conversations with community members to see, how did that work out? What did kids get out of it? What did community members get out of it? How did we promote it and communicate it? And I know one of the big challenges for all communities right now is, how do we help communities see the positive impact schools have on the entire community? So when it's time to support the schools, there's a really good idea among the community. It's not just what, when I went to school. We hear that refrain all of the time. When I went to school, there were 35 kids in a class and we didn't have to worry about this type of thing. Schools are different now, and that's okay. So this is, I think, also strategic in being able to share what's happening in our schools, why it's important for the community, and why we need the community support. So that's kind of a summary of that goal. I think because this is new, we're really not sure how well this is going to work. It's going to be really interesting to try out. I think fortunately you saw an example with the LG presentation, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. And the fact that Mrs. Sunderland's here from JCS today, Mrs. Gantz is here. But I think we're also going to have some wonderful ideas from our staff that the principals haven't even thought of. And that's what I'm really excited about, to hear these great ideas that staff have. A lot of our staff are animal lovers, and so I know that's going to be one of the goals at JCS. Anything you'd like to add about that, or any questions about that goal?
I personally, not that I don't think attendance and streamlining communication is important. I do. However, I love this. I think this is what we need, and I think this is such an opportunity for our students to access what's in the community and really see how the relationships can build together. And I think we see it at the high school level a bit more, where they're able to get out and with our pathway programs and things. But I'm excited for this at the elementary level too. I think this is wonderful, and I'm excited to see how it all transpires.
I think the kids will be very excited. I mean, in a galaxy far, far away, when I was a music teacher, I used to bring my chorus students to, local senior citizens' homes, and we would perform for them. And it was just an amazing connection. And there's so many different ways we can do that. And the young kids, they enjoy it so much and they learn so much from people in the community. I think it would be a great two-way,
Yeah.
starting conversations, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Any comments or questions?
I have a couple questions. So, more so for the attendance, so goal 2. So like, we know that last year when the handbooks were presented for middle and high school, there were discussions there that they have more flexibility in how they can arrange their system and put it more on the student and their responsibility. So in a way, it's a little bit easier for them because they have more, of an incentive. I find typically at the elementary level, it's the parents that you have to incentivize more than the kids, right? And thinking back to the data that Dr. Ackerman had presented about and seeing those upticks in improvement, particularly in the middle and high school levels of attendance. So what do you, is your target really going to be more parent and family based versus the student themselves, obviously? And then, how do, I just find that it's more challenging at your level to be able to incentivize them to bring their kids to school.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little bit of both. I think a balanced approach is important. Like I said, we want kids wanting to come to school every day. I feel like, I've heard comments in the past, well, make school more fun. I said, if you've ever been to LG or JC, I don't know how we could possibly make school more fun than we do. But, I think showing that enthusiasm and love of what we do as adults is important for kids to see. But I think you'll see in the goal too, it's important for us to connect with those families and form those important relationships with them so that they can see that we're not out to get them in terms of attendance, that we want to support them. Because we know as parents ourselves, it can be a struggle sometimes to get your kid to school. I was just sharing with someone recently, my mom struggled with me from preschool to probably around 2nd grade, getting me to school. If she were here, she'd say, yeah. Couldn't get socks and shoes on that kid's feet. I missed the bus like all of kindergarten and 1st grade. So, living it as a kid myself and having parents who had to deal with that, it's important for us to make sure we're creating those relationships and positive relationships with parents so they can see that we want to support. We want to make sure that they know we're not out to get them. That being said, we've changed the handbook language too around absences in terms of excused absences and unexcused absences. In our minds, an absence is an absence. Whether you're on vacation in Florida with your family or you have the flu, not being in school is not being in school. And it's not to say we're not cognizant of the fact that kids being sick is real. We just want to make sure that if you're not sick, you're in school. So I hope that answers your question.
No, I think my follow-up question might help a little bit too. Thank you. And I think it was less of a question, more of just affirming for you too. I know how difficult it is for you to do that. Also, so school improvement plan, it's a 3-year plan. This side of things is new for me. Is there ever do you guys come in and do follow-ups of, hey, here's what's happened in year 1, here's how we concluded?
Yeah. So in my time here in Norton, no. When I was in Easton Public Schools, each year we would present on the progress of our goals. And give kind of
not that I'm trying to give you more work. It's
it's a really good question. I think similar to the strategic plan, you want check-ins along the way. You'll see that, and we went back and forth about how many years we thought this plan should be, and we mirrored the strategic plan to make sure it was the same. So that at that time, we want to make sure that we're doing the things that.
Right, and I mean, not to throw your words back at you too. We're not out to get you. It's just we want to hear about the successes and how well things are going. And
2nd time here in I think 3 weeks. I love coming here and highlighting the amazing stuff we do in our schools. So.
So I just think that would be neat if we considered that.
I think that's the goal. So at one of the upcoming meetings, I'm going to be sharing with the committee our strategic plan update on everything that we've done so far this year. And I think ultimately the principals should expect to come back each spring and share, how their plan has been going, what they've been working on, the successes and the challenges of things that have kind of taken place. Have they had to pivot? Are they finding something comes much easier than others? And so all of those things will be shared as well. They come almost every year and do handbooks and, it's so funny because sometimes during the year, Pam and I are like, what else can we put on this agenda? And then other times you get to the end of the year and it's like, okay,
What can we take away?
what can we take off? Because we've got way too much to do. So that can be arranged.
Thank you. I just think that would be kind of neat just to see how things are going, especially because you're very passionate and excited about these. That I would hope that you come back and be like, "Hey, this was amazing." So
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Just to be a piece of paper that we get done with families. It has to be something that is achievable and is purposeful, like having an impact on students especially. So, sorry,
Thank
Jen,
you.
I think I interrupted you.
No, I'll just say we'll see you in a couple weeks.
What else can we do?
I just have two things. One, thank you for the committee or whatever we kind of called them on this for the 25 of you. I know when you do these things, it's a lot more meetings and emails and phone calls and stuff going back and forth trying to put all the actual words onto the paper. So thank you for everyone's work there, parents, community, teachers, principals. I guess my biggest thing is one, and I've had this conversation a few times with admin. We get this on, Monday night. We get it handed to us, when Pam drops it off, and then we're supposed to look through it and vote on it. And I just, again, I hate tabling things. I think me and Jen are on the same page generally when, get it on, get it voted and move it along. I just feel like there's so much information on this. And when we're talking about school improvement plans from our elementary levels going up, I would like to have a little bit more time just kind of being able to actually go through everything and make sure all of our questions are answered and asked and make sure we're comfortable with it. Because as is, again, look through it today quickly. Looked through it last night when I got a quick minute, but it's just a lot thrown at us. And when we're talking about something as, massively, I guess, in terms of, the 3-year plan, I would like a little bit more time. And then secondly, when we talk about goals, and I've also said this multiple times, it's like we never put anything that is actually measurable. And I don't want to say that's by design because I don't think that's the case, but okay, attendance. Is going attendance up 0.1%? Improving attendance? Sure. Is it really improving attendance, or did one kid show up to the day and we got to do that? So I would like to see a little bit more in terms of again, these objectives are great. I think it ties the whole community in. I think the attendance aspect meets the district stuff. I'm not saying anything along those lines. There's just some of these that I'm like, how do we know if we hit it? How do we know if Parent Square is working? How do we know if, the attendance is actually improving? And again, I know we covered this at last meeting, SMART goals, exactly. What can we kind of do? And again, I don't think every little subsection here, in 1A needs a goal and this thing needs a goal, but I think overall it would be nice to have some measurable marks that are somewhat achievable. And then when you guys do come back, it would be, hey, our attendance has gone up by 7%. Our, Parent Square meeting, our, messaging to parents has cut back 10%, but we've seen via survey that they're still feeling like they're getting all the information that they need. So again, that's just kind of a few things that I see in terms of, looking at this in a,
So I think with that point, Nick, I think that's where we could get with this, but since this is fairly new, I think it would be, kind of maybe in the best interest, in my opinion, to just, kind of let them, let the administrators in this committee kind of put all that into play, but at least get the framework built so that we can get to that point to have measurable goals, because we can take a look back and, to your point, say, all right, yeah, 0.1% means, the family didn't take the Florida vacation this week or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I understand your point, but I think maybe that's where we get to with something like this, versus just let them build the framework and kind of, build the foundation and get to that end point. That, again, just my opinion, not trying to disagree with you.
And I think to add to devil's advocate too, I think the way that this is broken out, that's where your evidence section is where your data is going to fall in. And so that's how they're being able to measure it right now. So there may not be actual percentage bullet points, but I think that there are actual measurable pieces, at least to goals 1 and 2. Goal 3 is tough because it's, the community out. But even that, if they come back and they say that we were able to do outreach successfully to, say, 5, different communities, well, then that's 5 more than they did the year before. So, I think coming from the teacher aspect where we do make SMART goals and we have to figure out how are we making this measurable, there are ways to do it that aren't necessarily as quantitative as I know that you're looking for.
May I just respond to that? Because I think that's an excellent question. I think for the attendance specifically, and Tom can certainly, give his opinion. So in my plan with the superintendent, because where we're at each school is different, I put and I think I actually spelled it out exactly how you said, like we're at this percentage from the prior year. Our goal is to be at this percentage for this year. I think for us to put that in this plan is a little tricky because we're all in slightly different places and we won't be able to predict where we'll be next year. But that absolutely could be something that we talk about when we come back. And then we could also talk about what would a reasonable goal is. Let's say that, LGN, right now, 8% of their students are chronically absent. Okay, maybe their goal is next year we want to be at 7.5, whereas JCS you're at 10%, you want to be at least at 9%, if not lower. I think you bring up a valid point, but I think it might have to be a little bit different for each school depending where we're at and what our trend is. Yeah. For goal number 3, because that is much more qualitative than quantitative, we were very mindful on how we wrote our evidence, and I completely understand that you didn't have a chance to go through every detail. Not a problem at all. But if you look in the evidence for goal number 3, we put a lot of by this date so that we could give ourselves those markers and make that quantitative because you're exactly right. It's going to be tricky to say, because this is so new, how do we know we're successful? Was it, we reached out to we tried these 2 projects or whatever. But to keep ourselves honest, we were like, nope, we need to do this by this date. We need to do this next thing by this date. So that'll help us. Like, did we reach it? No, because we didn't do that by this date. But we did it 2 months after, so not too bad. But I think your point is well taken, and that's why we tried to highlight too the evidence we would use to show if we're making progress toward the goals.
Yeah, and I do have to piggyback and do agree with Nick that I think, especially large documents like this, if we could have them just a tinge earlier, that would help because, like Nick, we do like to, write down a lot of questions and, see those things as they hit us. So, but thank you so much for all of the work because I know that it's a lot. So.
Or we could have a discussion, not a vote that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
right. The discussion presentation, but I like the idea of having it in front of me first to write the questions before they come to talk to us.
Totally.
We could also maybe do like the presentation and then the vote the next week, kind of like we do with the first reading, second reading.
To ask the questions.
But we wouldn't need. I mean, we wouldn't need you guys next week. Short of if we have any questions, we could,
I mean, Tom does love coming.
Yeah,
that is true.
I mean, I wasn't joking when I said we'll see you in a couple weeks, but maybe something like that treated as like a first reading and then a second reading and vote.
And then my last question here, I guess from a committee standpoint, obviously we talk about attendance, we talk about the community service stuff. Was there any thought of like actually talking about academics?
As I mentioned before, and you can chime in too. Sure. We took our direction from the council as a whole, and I mean we threw out I don't know how many ideas in total,
at least
but
6 or 7 different ones.
And ended up with these 3. It's a really great question, and obviously our daily work is around that. Like that is what we do on a daily basis. That's at the forefront of everything. So when we think of school improvement plans, there's so many different facets you can focus on, different things that you want to do. Under the direction of our leadership at central office, there's been a lot of work around academics, even just the 4 years since I started here. Having new programs in math, in reading, in science, in social emotional learning, all of those things are happening already under Dr. Ackerman's direction. So we felt like in order to move us forward in other ways, we wanted to focus on these things. But amazing question, because that's why we're here, right? That's what we do as academics first and foremost. I would argue social emotional learning too, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I think it all pieces together. Like you have to be in school to get to the academic piece of it.
And I'm going to say the piece that will probably get people irritated and yell at me at some point, but like attendance. If you're a good family and you have the ability at home to get your kids to school, whether they want to put on their shoes or not, because I fight with that about my daughter every day as well. But like, you're going to school, you're not missing school for things. In our household, attendance isn't a huge deal, right? Our kids are going to go to school. That's where they're going to go. So we're making a huge thing, and we've put a huge push from the district about getting kids to school. That is very important. But guess what's even more important? What they're doing at school. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's the aspect where like, I love it from a district standpoint of how do we do this? How do we get all 5 schools in place? How do we make attendance? Because if they're not in school, they're definitely not learning. But like, while they're there in the, you know, whatever, 85 to 90% of the majority of the students who are there on a, you know, not on a chronic absenteeism list, what are they doing when they're there? And how do we take that majority and make sure they're getting the best education possible from Norton Public Schools?
Well, let's also remember that we have a district strategic plan that the schools don't get to opt out of. So all of the components of our district strategic plan are things that we're doing as a district, you know, and I'll share that. I don't know if it's the next meeting or the meeting after. I can't remember, quite honestly. The principals and the schools are all deeply involved in all of that work as well. And it's, I mean, a lot of that work has to do with academics and student achievement. And we have a whole actual goal or a strategic objective around high quality teaching and learning. So all of those things still have to be done. And it's, you know, it's all the work that we're, you know, continuously working on as a team as well. So.
Yeah, no, I just like, I guess that's my, you know, we've obviously have been improving here, and, you know, the, obviously at the elementary levels with the reading scores and so on, it's like, that's to me where like, where we can improve, and how do we make that, you know, I think that's a concern of everybody's in the district, of how do we get those things up so we know our kids are ready for, from going from LG or JCS to the Yale, to the middle school, to the high school, you know, and doing it that way. So, but yeah, that's kind of all I have.
Anyone else? Comments, questions? Do we want to table this then and vote?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to table to vote at our next school committee meeting.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So we'll vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much. We appreciate it.
Gentlemen.
Marty will be here.
Marty will be here at the next meeting.
All told, I like it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Next is review and vote on recommended budget transfers. Mrs. Hadfield.
Hi. So typically when we do these transfers towards the end of the year, they're between salaries and expenses. But we're still asking for approval for these transfers because it was after we did our retro pay in settling the teachers and Paris contract. It was a lot larger, so we thought it was important to bring it in front of you. So we are just seeking approval for the following numerous transfers that we have in front of you. If you have any questions.
So all of these are just coming from, transferring from, obviously, so hypothetically, the department chair's stipends at the high school, like, we're just transferring them to something that's above, and it can kind of go anywhere?
Correct.
Okay.
Because it's
It's all salary.
Yeah.
or-
yeah.
It's all salary items.
And going to a salary.
So all of these transfers are directly from the budget we already had
Yes.
to incorporate the retro pay for the new NTA contract.
Most. I mean, some of them could just be we overexpended
Sub coverage or
something like
long-term leaves.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Great. Entertain a motion to approve the budget transfers as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay. Next is AI Task Force update. Mrs. Winsper and Dr. Ackerman.
I would just like to start by saying I'm not really sure who put the two long-winded people together. I'm going to try really hard.
Weren't we just talking about what to take off of meetings?
Oh no, I'm going to try.
We were making such good time.
am timing.
See, it would be like a baller move if you just put your whole presentation through AI and just hit play.
Yeah.
Like that would have been perfect.
She might spontaneously combust.
Yeah.
Was that giant flash? Did you see giant flash?
I was looking down. I like your pops.
Okay. So thank you for having us. Brian and I had the pleasure this year of launching an AI task force. And you might say, what exactly was that? Well, we decided as a district, I think our leadership team, AI is a thing, right? Like we all know that this is something that we cannot pretend is not impacting us. It is. And so we decided, actually, I think the state had finally put forth some guidance. So we decided, okay, we've got some guidance from the state. Now let's do something about it. And we convened a task force in the fall. We sent out the word, and we were very fortunate to get about 27 to 30 people who responded and were willing to participate. So we're very excited about it. And we're going to kind of give you an update about this tonight. So we took Jen's, for our presentation purposes, we took Jen's The Lancer Way, just to try to embed that into where we're headed with AI in the district. Because again, you know, our approach basically is not what AI is going to do for us, you know, but like, does it fit? Does it fit in Norton? And if so, how? And how can we actually think about, as educators, what's important for Norton Public Schools? And, you know, when we began the work, it was more about, we want it to serve us, you know, we want it to serve our students, not undermine what we do. So every kind of decision, every thought process, you know, we were thinking all about Norton first, because we're, you know, obviously pro teaching and learning. That is what we do here. You know, we do want to think about, you know, what is happening on the national level, the state level, and then obviously locally. And we can't forget about the fact that this is larger than us, and that there are some outside forces, you know, pushing and emphasizing AI literacy, you know, and those are critical thinking skills, workforce readiness that incorporate AI. And also, you know, from the federal government, we're looking at AI as a national priority. DESE and also the governor's office pushing out, you know, AI training for all Massachusetts residents, whether that's something you want to, you know, take upon. That, you know, is certainly a personal decision. But it's, you know, we as educators need to take all of this under consideration. And we need to think about, we want safe, ethical, and, you know, equitable opportunities. And then so thinking about, well, where do we begin with this? We actually surveyed students, and that was what really kind of drove, I think, our starting point. And, you know, we were very cautious. There are other districts, I think, Dan, we had a conversation at one point and you were like, you know, we should be at the forefront of this. And it was like, I think we need to be slow. You know, I think we need to, you know, we don't necessarily have the infrastructure in Norton to go fast. So we really are trying to be not avoidant, but we really need to think about how can we cautiously move in a capacity that is meaningful. And maybe that is, you know, considering what's the most important piece. And that is, you know, we believe in people, you know, students and teachers. And so that human judgment is the most important, right? It doesn't replace us. You know, teachers are concerned about academic integrity. They're concerned about cheating. Kids are also concerned about cheating. They told us. I mean, I wish the high school kids were still here. They were very clear, and we'll talk a little bit about that. You know, for me, data privacy is non-negotiable. That is, you know, something that we've had in place in the district for a long time, that we do not use tools or resources that do not sign a data privacy agreement. And so we can't just use whatever is the shiny tool, you know, the AI tool. We have to make sure that any resource, whether it's a new curriculum that comes out of Brian's office, or, you know, something that is cutting edge, we have to make sure. I have Vinny Cersei all the time. You know, I've got him trained, and he emails me and he's like, you're in my head. Like, it's the first thing that I ask a vendor. And I'm like, that's good. That's, you know, that's our responsibility, is to make sure that we're protecting our students' you know, data. And so also staff readiness, because, you know, I've been in education for a long time. I also started in second grade, as Dr. O'Neill did, and then I taught middle school, my favorite. I'm not ready for AI. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm the tech lady, and this is bigger than anything I think anybody could have prepared for. And this is, you know, 3 years, has been around for 3 years, generative AI, and our staff, I think, is open, but also very hesitant because of the time and energy that truly needs to be given to this if we are to do this, or to embrace kind of bringing it into, whether it be just for professional development purposes. Like, this is a lot, okay? And we know that. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about the what our students told us, okay? So we did get 317 responses, which I was pretty excited about. And 86% of those told us that they had used some type of AI in some form. But yet 44% said they had not used it for school. Now, mind you, this was in the fall. Now, if I were to ask them that again, I was not going to put them on the spot before this, but, you know, but that is an opportunity for us, right? They're looking for guidance. They want, and they told us, they are looking for guidance from their teachers. Our high school students especially told us that they feel as though AI could be used to help them, but they don't want it used as an unfair advantage. They don't want it used for cheating. And I can respect that. So they're looking for guidance from their teachers, guidance from the district. Now, our staff, this is actually a survey that was done of the high school staff, just them, not the middle school, that was shared with me. And everybody had used it at the point of the survey, most on an occasional level. But what's really great is they too are looking for guidance. At the time of this, we didn't have anything in place, right? This is the whole year that this has taken us. So we've got our students looking for guidance. We've got our staff looking for guidance. Everybody wants clear expectations. Now, I think what we need to realize or understand is, like, our staff are not saying absolutely not. They're not, you know, digging their feet in and saying, I'm not going to do this. What they're saying is, we care about our kids. We care about our students. We care about them learning and growing and thinking. We care about our professional judgment as teachers and educators. And we also want to make sure that responsible use can be taught. We have to teach our teachers what that means. We have to understand and have a common language. And I know Brian's going to speak to this. There's some training that we've done this year that will continue into next year, but we don't even have, like, we didn't have a shared starting point. And that's really where we needed to begin. And I want to just say, Norton is no different than any other community in the Commonwealth. I actually feel really good about where we are now than where we were at the beginning of the year. Vinny Hayward, if he was here, he would tell you he cannot believe, like even just in 6 months' time, the changes that he has seen. So we started with staff, and I just want to speak to this for a second. When we started with the task force, we have representation across the entire district. We have people from every building, so staff from every building. We have middle school students. We actually had some seniors who had volunteered, but I said, well, I don't really want seniors because seniors are leaving us. You know, if I had some underclassmen, I would have taken them, but, you know, there was a couple of our tech kids who, of course, volunteered. And I said, you know, well, if you want, yes, but then they got so busy. So the middle school students did participate. We had parents across buildings. And it was our parents who actually said, we need to start with the teachers. We need to start with training teachers because they're the ones that are going to be hearing it from the kids. They're the ones who are going to be hearing it from the parents. They're going to be asking the questions. And they're the ones who really need to be prepared. And they're not wrong. Like, we agree. So this is kind of where we settled. And again, I want to just be clear. You know, we have some kind of guidance here that is very fluid and we're presenting this to you first and sharing this with you first. We have shared it with the admin team. We'll share it with staff for feedback. This is not set in stone. This is something that is moving so quickly. We're not going to keep up with this. We're going to have to constantly be changing and constantly be adding and changing this. And it's a draft. It's like an ever-evolving draft. So we went and created this kind of hub, which is like a staff-facing resource. Actually, in the process of creating, I have a collection of resources for families. And so this is where we're going to put like this guidance site as well. And then the primary document right now is this assignment scale. And this is something that's being used across, I don't even want to say the country, but districts around the country are using this kind of stoplight scale, like something that if you envision, you know, the red light is no AI can be used for an assignment, or if you have like yellow, well, maybe, you know, for guidance, you know, for like a partnership or collaboration. Norton has decided, and this was our task force peak group, we wanted like a 4-prong, not just a 3. But again, looking for common language. And this is where you can actually find that AI hub. And I just kind of circled on the district website how you can find it if you go to district technology. And then I put the link there. And there's just some links or some screenshots. And this is that actual assignment scale that I mentioned. Just the no AI, pre-task, collaboration, and then the full AI. This is not, we're not in any way, shape, or form ready to implement this today, tomorrow. This is something we still need more training. Staff need support. We were talking about potentially doing a SMART goal for next year, supporting teachers if they were to choose maybe like a theme or like a unit, and then designing that unit around this scale. So maybe our high school, you know, English department, because Kim Burkett was on our, she's on our task force, but she's also in our peak group that Brian will speak to in a sec. Maybe she's going to take one book that she does with a, you know, one of her classes, and maybe she'll choose to do this and work through it. It's in a completely different design. It's lesson design. That's time consuming. It's having the time to completely redesign lessons. So with that, Brian?
Thanks, Karen. So one of the things we really wanted to lean into as first steps, because as a result of the task force, we really heard a lot of feedback about teachers being kind of the first point of contact. So this year we partnered with a ed tech teacher to provide some PD for grades 6 to 12 staff. Additionally, there are some modules on the DESE website that are very well done, and it's about building that common understanding, that common language. And so we provided that for all of our elementary staff. Additionally, we had some early AI pilots at the middle school just to kind of dip our toe in and kind of see what the landscape looked like. And then there was a group, Karen and I were on it, Vinny Hayward was on it, a number of teachers, and it was a collection of similarly positioned Massachusetts districts that were wrestling with a lot of the same questions that we're wrestling now. And we've gathered together monthly now since about, November? January. So we've had monthly sessions, and in addition, we have a dedicated peak coach that meets only with our leadership team so that we can continue to put it through layers and layers of feedback and thought as we bring this first pass to you. And then next year, we're going to have a continuing professional pathway for our staff. We're going to partner with a professional learning organization. And again, continuing to expand the design work, knowing that our teachers are the focal point for this work and that the support is structured. And then to begin the process of examining what does AI literacy look like for our students. And then again, we want to make sure we deepen that staff capacity. We want to build that consistency. I think Karen has alluded to it, and we are all marching to the beat of the same drummer. Privacy, privacy, privacy. Student data protected at all costs. And then to have continued literacy instruction to really understand AI is imperfect, right? So we have to understand what some of the pitfalls could be and how to be good consumers and diagnose when something may not be the way it's supposed to. And then I think the three terms that we've really come up with, we want to be thoughtful, intentional, and student-centered. This first phase, it's really all about staff. And we know that staff is that first point of contact. And we know that what all of our survey data is telling us is that people want guidance and guardrails. They want clarity around expectation. Privacy is always at the front of the line for us as a district, and that it's really about our teachers. It's about our students, trusting our students to do the right thing. And ultimately, this all leads to post-secondary readiness so that all Lancers are ready for the next step, whether it's college or career, the military, or the workforce.
And so I'm just going to jump in just for 1 second. So we have this community forum on Monday night, and that is really to just share with the families because, again, our parent representatives on our task force had said, families don't understand, parents don't understand the potential, I think, about what AI could possibly do for some of our students and teachers. And I think for our special education folks especially, we have some people who are on our special education staff who are on our task force who are very in tune to what this could do for some of our high need students. And so they're actually going to be on the call Monday night. So I think that will be very helpful. Again, this is changing so quickly. This is one of those things that I actually said, gone are the tech committees. This is kind of what this is now replacing because this is where we're at. Do you have any questions or comments at this time for us? I know you probably do, so it's exciting.
Yeah, it's so much fun. First off, thank you for all of the work because
I do agree how quickly this is moving. I mean, just in the past year alone, I feel like all of a sudden now every single little ad you see on Facebook was clearly AI generated from ChatGPT or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay. So, you know, everybody's now like jumping on this train. So I think I couldn't agree more about how the staff needs to, they're the go-to. They're the ones that need to have whatever level of buy-in they're going to have, but feel comfortable and understanding enough of it. My only worry is, like you said, it is moving so fast. And you have these students, you know, freshmen in particular, that are looking for this guidance. But now we're talking about, okay, we've spent this year training staff. We're going to spend next year training staff. We're not quite well, you know, here and there. We're trying to start to implement this, but like even by that point now, it's already changed completely. So where do you decide that we just need to give, particularly, I would say maybe our 8th through 12th, I'll give a little bit lower, just a good general guidance of, I know you want to use this AI, you're afraid that it's for cheating because that's always been the go-to to tell you to kind of keep you away. But here are a couple of ways of, if you want to dabble, of accessing certain things this way, about, you know, how do you ask the questions instead of looking for the answers, stuff like that. So I just didn't know like where in this timeline you want to start giving the students some of that guidance, whether the staff is fully ready or not, just so that they can.
I think we have to rip the Band-Aid off, and I think we have to just plan to tell families this is going to happen in the fall.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering, because like I said, because I know that there's been a really heavy push for the staff, don't get me wrong, but with it moving as fast as it is, I think you need to get your students on board as fast as possible so that they just know how to navigate and what to do.
We agree.
Okay.
I mean, I think personally, like in my current industry, I have gotten away from a lot of my technology background that I was, so I mean, this is still even new to me and I don't really have the option to use it currently, but I think my biggest high level concern, I'm going to steal, you know, Nick's thunder a little bit, is this taking away from our academics? Because the last thing I want is to just give kids the easy route, or even the staff an easy route to complete a lesson plan or something like that. Like, I understand that a lot goes into the lesson plans, but, you know, academically, I have, you know, pretty big concerns that this is just gonna, you know, I remember the days in high school staying up late to do that 3-page paper. Now you can put it into an app and it's done in 25 minutes. And, you know, and I remember going back to when I went back to school many years after I should have, you know, we had to submit our papers through a checklist, and if it got kicked back, you had to redo it. So those are my biggest concerns. I mean, and that kind of falls into the privacy aspect of this, but, you know, and that I just don't want to give staff and students, and forgive my words, but I don't want to have it the easy way out, because we still have to teach. We can't just teach them to use AI. We have to teach them. You know, in AI, it's kind of like, you know, for those who are my age, it's like, you know, when you looked it up in the encyclopedias, you know, it's just, that's the newest resource. And I get that it's not going anywhere, but so the framework is great.
This one has all the letters.
I had a friend that sold them door to door. And I guess my other question is, I know, you know, we have our school issued devices. Are these platforms, do we currently allow them on our school devices, or is that part of what we're trying to build as our framework?
So we're trying to build that. I will tell you that we do have 2 that have signed the data privacy agreement, so they would be approved for use in the district.
Okay.
So therefore, they could be used, and I would have no worries about that. Okay. In terms of your other question, is this taking away from academics? I think this is where the shift goes to, we can't do academics like we've always done academics. And that's where the time that teachers are going to need to shift and redesign some of their lessons, because I've had conversations with teachers about, I just need an AI detector. Well, an AI detector is not 100%.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, an AI, like, that's not a thing that we can solely rely on. It's not accurate yet. I'll say yet, right? relationships matter. Our teachers do a tremendous job of building relationships with their students. And I think that is what is key. It's the academic integrity question and conversations. You know, we do have something in the high school handbook about AI use and how that fits under the honor code. And I think that was approved last year, if I'm correct. I've talked, Mr. Haywood, it was on the task force. He knows that that's something we need to look at and build into the middle school handbook. So I don't think that this is the easy way out, but I do think it's how can we have the conversation with the students up front, with the parents, because if we're doing this stoplight, we need to tell parents what that means, what to look for, what's acceptable. Because if they see their kid using AI, they might be like, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing here? Are you cheating? That's what they might be thinking as well. So we have a lot of conversations.
Okay. Thank you.
I love the quote that said students are not asking for unchecked AI use. They want adults to set clear expectations. I think that is, you could put unchecked AI use and put anything that we do in our schools in that spot. So I don't think on this edge of things, much changes. I think AI is a huge web. I think people think of AI and they automatically go ChatGPT, Copilot, and that's AI, and that's not the case whatsoever. Obviously, it's a very big web that I don't think anyone really has a handle on. I don't think there's any real AI experts out there just yet. However, I completely agree with Dan, and yet again, I'll say the quiet part out loud, this is where all of this comes in, and how do we get these children to stay in academics and get some of this technology out of the classroom. Once it's out, then it's gone. Then they can't be cheating and using it. It's the same thing going back to encyclopedias and open quizzes and notebooks and everything else. Sometimes you couldn't use a calculator on your math test, and then when you were in calculus, you might have been able to use your graphing calculator, and then kids would program in on the graphing calculator all the test answers and everything else. It's the exact same thing. So somehow, while they're in school, we need to be able to have a checks and balances system in the classroom, but we also, when we go home for homework and everything else, that we need to also figure out how do we keep it and keep the academic honesty up. Because that 44%, I can tell you right now, is not real. Most of these kids are doing exactly what mom and dad and everybody else does with AI and plug in something and say, hey, what's the answer to this? And they assume it's right.
Well, it might have been real in September.
And
Sure.
I think that's the point, Nick, of, we know that they're doing it.
Yeah.
So we need to, just like anything, we need to teach them how to use it appropriately. So that way, there are things that AI is good for, right? There are great ways for you to analyze data and for you to, whatever it may be. It's like anything. Like social media is a cesspool. And so we need to teach kids how to be good consumers of what they read on the internet. We are going to need to teach students to use AI appropriately. And that's hard because we don't really know how to use AI appropriately yet either as the adults. It looks like Mr. Cersei wants to say something.
Here's our AI master.
What I am, though, is I hear from our students, our past students, and I'll tell you what our graduates are telling me when they come back, especially the ones that are at the higher ends. We better get on board. We are leaving our kids behind if we don't get them taught on how to use it, when to use it, what to use it for. Because in their lives already in college and in the workforce, they would come here, and I don't think there's anybody in this room, because I know most of us in this room, that would even begin to be able to have a conversation with them about this and how it's being used in their place of business, especially high tech, especially finance, entrepreneurship, all of that. So we have an obligation, in my opinion, to teach this, to teach it right, and not just shut it down. So we're going to have to find that balance. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's direct quotes in the last 3-4 months from alumni that they come back during their breaks, and I'm lucky enough to have some of those relationships. And I have kids that are at that age as well in the field. And this is what I'm hearing. What is education doing? What is public education doing to get us where we need to be, or the kids need to be, because otherwise they're going to get left behind. So I think we have to find that balance. So I just wanted to say it because it's been a hot topic with the kids coming back.
And I think we have to understand too that this definition of academics has been an evolution, particularly over the past 15 to 20 years. You do have to consider social and emotional learning as academics. You have to start to consider technology advancement as part of academics, because these are all also things that they do need to use in their real lives outside of the world as well. How to be able to, be able to self-regulate when they are in a, large busy place or something is happening. How to, again, properly and appropriately access the AI that is already being thrown in their face consistently. Having the computers in the classroom, not in the classroom, it doesn't really matter, because when they go home, like you said, we're offline. We don't see them anymore. So having that opportunity to be able to give them that knowledge is really important. And there was another point that stuck out when you were talking. I'm trying to think of what it was. This is being used for things, again, like the younger kids, that's a whole different ballgame. That's where it's more of the adults have to be educated and understand. Your 44%, you'd be amazed the number of students that feel like it is against the rules, and so they are straying away from it because they are afraid, because they don't know how. So there's a lot of just stinging points that are coming out, but it's not going away. Oh, I remember. I was going to make a ridiculous reference of what I used to do when we started getting heavy on technology. Again, I'll go back 10 years when we started to implement more in the classroom with first iPads, and then we brought in Chromebooks, and everyone was similar concerns. And I just always use if we never try to advance where we are in our technology, then we would still be holding an abacus in front of us. But additionally, though, this is moving fast, and it's dangerous to me. I'm apprehensive about it. So I just think that the more knowledge that we can get into everyone's hands, it's still not going to rein it in as much as it needs to, but they have to know something. So, thank you.
Hurricane or pandemic, I use AI to fact check.
Yep, and that helps a lot too, to be able to have them navigate what's real and what's not, because there's a lot of that now. Just watching the kids watching the AI video of a bear has come up to grandma, and they're, she's petting. It's like, is it real or not? How are you learning what is real and what is not anymore? Because that is going to continue to move whether we want to move with it or not.
And I had a conversation with a first grade teacher, actually, who had done years ago a lot of work with green screens. And so, the kids were able to identify green screen videos. And so we joked about that and said, well, now when you're showing videos, are they able to identify AI generated videos? Because that could be something that a, primary school teacher could be discussing.
Right. But it's not the kids so much operating the AI,
not
it's the education of it. Correct.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
both very much. This is great. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have 3 policies that we need to go and do a second reading. I know that Chief Clark is here with our SROs. We could push those to, unless you guys have I was going to say before the town meeting on the 18th. We could push those to that meeting, and they should be fairly quick to run through. Up to all of you.
Yeah, out of respect for their time, I would like to go to executive session if possible, and then we can either come back here and vote on these ones, or if we want to push it to the next meeting, I'm good with that as well.
Push them. Yeah, we can just push it.
Questions or anything about them?
Well, we can do it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want to take up. Yeah, you think it's all right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's too
Everyone
many.
good?
These guys have been here for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. How do I'm going to need a script here on this one.
Yep. It's right under number 15.
Yeah, so other business.
Chat GPT. How do I?
Business.
Okay.
No. It's under number 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So a motion to entertain a motion to adjourn and enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing school safety, not to return to open session, and table the last 3 items for second readings. Yep.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote.
Aye.
It's a roll call.
Oh, it's a roll call. So,
Oh,
Mrs.
roll call.
Forbes?
Sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
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 Okay.
All right. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.